Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today's video will be featuring some very special guests. As some of you may know, I recently got a job at an independent bookstore in the town near me, and I am loving it so far. My guests today are two of my amazing coworkers from that job. You will be meeting Boter and Katelynne today. I am so lucky to have a job where I'm able to talk about books all day. And I am also really lucky that I have this YouTube channel where people can watch me talk about books. So I was approached by Boter to potentially do a collab, as he also has a YouTube channel and he just doesn't really talk about books on his channel. He's more of a gamer. However, he really wanted to talk about books since it's another one of his passions. So he was wondering if he could potentially make a video to put on my channel. And I said, absolutely. So today, Boter and Katelynne will be discussing Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This is a book that is coming out September 10th, which is 2 weeks from the day that I am filming this. But yeah, they are going to be discussing that book. It is going to be spoiler free, so do not worry about that. And they will also be discussing a fun little thing that they did because of this book. They did a photo shoot and it was super awesome, so they're going to be talking about that as well. Boter and Katelynne each were able to read an ARC version of this way back in April, and they have been sitting on this book since they read it, and they just want to talk about it since they loved it so much. So I introduce to you guys Boter and Katelynne.
Hi Cass, thank you so much, and hello to all of you out there. So I'm Boter.
I'm Katelynne.
And we're going to talk a little bit about Gideon the Ninth. I love it! Look at the hair sort of still matching a little bit.
Strange coincidence.
Yeah, which we'll get into in a moment. I was first made aware of this when our event manager was like, hey, I've been on book Twitter and a lot of people are talking about this. Do you have the chance? Like, I haven't had the chance to read it, but do you have the chance to? I'm like, I look at it, I'm like, okay, the most fun you'll ever have with a skeleton, tick a box. The Emperor needs necromancers, ticks off a box. Necromancer needs a swordswoman, ticks off a box. Gideon has a sword, some dirty magazines, and no more time for undead bullshit. That's starting to tick boxes I didn't know I had. Yes, I absolutely have time to read this. And I don't know, I tore through it in about a week and a half.
This definitely also looks visually like your wheelhouse.
It is it's super arresting cover. I love it. It's published by Tor. They did a feature like, hey, here's the cover, and they showed, as they took like reference photos, they just had someone in the face paint that they then, like, it's painted cover. It's gorgeous. I love it.
Someone in the back throwing skeletons around too.
To be super quick, I read it, enjoyed it, and said someone else needs to read this because I need to talk about it.
Yeah, there are feelings that happen in this book, and you need to share them. And so I became that lucky other person who got to read the book and have the feelings, and I think text you at like a weird hour during the night, like, I just finished the book! I'm having feelings! I need to talk about it!
So, we are going to keep this somewhat spoiler-free because the book doesn't come out for, as we're recording this, another week and a half. 2.5 weeks. It comes out on September 10th. We read it in like April, maybe late March. And we're like, we have to wait to tell the world at large to read this. Well, now we're telling you, world at large, you need to read this.
Read this.
Okay. Really short, pitch is that the main character, the titular Gideon, is the point of view character, and she's someone who has been more or less held as a slave for the ninth house. Yeah. There are 9 houses of necromancy in the solar system. Did I mention it's technically like a stealth sci-fi? I love it. That's another checkbox.
Swords in space.
And she's like, oh, well, I'm gonna escape. And the antagonist character of Harrow Harknonagesimus, who it's more or less been her tormentor her entire life. It's like, yeah, I'm the princess of the house, and I don't like you. More or less stops her from doing it, and also conscripts her into a necromantic house battle royale. The main people from each of the 8 houses, 2 through 9, are called to the first house, which is where the emperor is from, and they all have to figure out, basically they're given a puzzle of how they can best serve the emperor. Their time has come. And so they need a necromancer, which is Harrow, and they need a cavalier, who is Gideon with the sword.
Yep, that's it.
Who was raised with like a broadsword,
Two hands.
and is then told you need to use a rapier to be a proper
hands.
cavalier. And there was a quote about that was something like, while she was being trained on that was, your hands are no longer twins, they are sisters. Which a friend of ours who was just really into like sword fighting was like, oh my god, it's so true.
Yeah, I think at the end, Tamsin has a thank you to the person that she actually talked to about swords and actual sword fighting, so that everything that is in here is actually accurate too. It's not just, in some fantasy novels you can tell the author's just kind of feigning what they think happens in swordplay, and the readers don't know most of the time. But this actually held up to someone we know who actually studies fencing.
Like I've read like 30 different fantasy books. I'll just regurgitate what I've heard there. No, proper like original
swish, clang,
research.
Clang. That's all you need.
Really well done. So and of course, like, it ticks off all these boxes for this is going to be a really enjoyable read. I'm loving this, everything like that. And then it did that sneaky thing where it broke my heart. So we're going to avoid the worst of the spoilers, but it was all of a sudden, like, emotionally, it damaged me.
Yeah. And you dragged me into it, so thanks.
You're welcome.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't.
But it's one of those things that makes you want to share it even more because you need to talk about those feelings. And it is the first of a series. The second book is called Gideon the Ninth. And the third one has a title, but it's not a name that we recognize from having been in here, so it'll likely be someone that's introduced in book 2. So of course, not only did it like hurt me, but it makes me wait. So we super enjoyed the book.
What was the moment when you first fell in love with it?
Oh,
because for me, I think it was one of the first lines of dialogue that she has with somebody. Very early on, so there's this bit about her escaping in the beginning, and then she says something to that old guy that tries to stop her. That at first it's like a high fantasy, and we're getting out of a tower, and then she's talking to someone about like, oh, you almost seem like you don't hate me, but you totally do though. Just this first moment of sass that you would recognize, like that any teenage girl would say.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Oh, it's one of those kinds of books.
She's sassy. The narration is sassy.
Yes.
She says one thing. So, we need to conduct ourselves with rigor in this investigation. And she says, more like rigor mortis, says Gideon, who automatically assumed that all puns are funny.
Yep. And you like cringe. And
so like
laugh.
the actual narration got in on the sass too, which I loved. It's a very funny book, very humorously written, with like very not part of it, like it has atmosphere. It does a great job of building its atmosphere. The word choicing and sentence structure, especially that the characters use, is not part of that atmosphere at all.
Yes, which is great. You're in a gothic castle and somebody just makes a bad pun joke and also whips on their sunglasses. Like so.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we're both absolutely in love with this book, and you had said that, I know what my Halloween costume is.
Yes.
Because
this is very doable.
It's a pretty simple,
It's
frankly.
recognizable. Like if I was wearing this costume and had this book next to me, you could totally be like, yeah, exactly. And it's mostly, as well as you can see, it's just kind of black dress, maybe a belt here, a little scarf, something with the hair, face paint, and a sword. It's actually pretty easy.
Yeah, it is. Considering costumes that I've done, it would be pretty easy. And I was like, oh, that'd be really cool. Oh, what if we did like photo shoot? What if we do a photo shoot before the book comes out and then show it to the author and try to get them to visit?
It's the difference between my ideas and your ideas.
Yeah, I think big, and sometimes it comes through, sometimes it doesn't. We went ahead and did a photo shoot anyway.
Ta-da! That's me.
This was like, hey, we're gonna do this, and we, I coordinated. I got one of my friends who was a photographer who was interested in it. Juan, who was the photographer, had seen this and was like, oh, I know exactly what to do to get that. And oh my God, he nailed it.
Yes, he did.
He did like a single,
great.
My
I don't
wife.
look that good in real life. See, this is all Juan.
My wife Steph was just holding the light above, so
and
like
she did all their makeup. That face
Yes.
is because of Steph.
Yes, and so this is Katelynne here as Gideon Nav, the title character. And then this is me as Harrow, which was also my first crossplay, although I didn't really play up, whatever. The most I did was that I shaved my goatee. It was like, oh, hey, what should I do for spooky necromancer robes. Well,
yeah,
I have
so
like 2
I
or 3
had
different
a
Sith robes.
visual of what I needed to look like. This was just based on what we had in the book. So this
Yeah,
is all
like-
us imagining what Harrow probably looks like.
Yeah, like it was like, okay, so it's easy enough to say, oh, I'm gonna take the 2 different Sith costume robes that I have and put those together because Star Wars. Yeah, and then it was just having fun with the rest of the shoot. This shows off the Hall of Springs really well. Shows off the sword really well.
Shows off like how terrible. See, I'm holding a 2-handed weapon.
Yeah,
holding a one-handed weapon with 2 hands the wrong way. So it's very, very Gideon.
Yeah. You know, it's boom with skeletons, slightly cut off, but whatever.
Skeleton doing your bidding because you are a necromancer.
I am. Yeah, and then just trying to get like some of the personality.
Hating each other in high school.
Yeah, like the personality of the characters is this kind of like somewhat juvenile, like, oh, we got to work together, but I don't like you. Glare.
Yes.
And
Playful. Hanging out with
I
my
had
sword.
fun. And then
Yeah,
fun
there's
team.
all of us.
Yay!
Yay!
Obviously, we loved it because we went and did the photo shoot. And who else loved the photo shoot but the author? So we published the photo shoot through the Twitter account here at the store, and Tamsin retweeted that and said, I wasn't born good, I haven't done good things, how did I deserve this? And that is still her pinned tweet. We are 2.5 weeks out from publication. More than 2 months since the shoot came out. That is still her pinned tweet. I had emailed her about something afterward, and she sent back a really, really nice letter.
She's a real person. She's a cool person.
She's a wonderful person. Like, buy the book just because she's a wonderful person who deserves good things to happen to her, like this book getting a lot of traffic. I don't have much else to say.
Well, you didn't answer me about what your favorite part of the book was. Or when you first fell in love with it.
Oh, yes. I fell in love with it from, like, the first line.
Which is...
In the myriadic year of our Lord, the 10,000th year of the King undying, the kindly Prince of Death, Gideon Nav packed her sword, her shoes, and her dirty magazines, and she escaped from the House of the Ninth.
Boom.
This book comes out September 10th. The hardcover edition, the first edition that comes out, is absolutely gorgeous, has stained black pages. Even before I saw how gorgeous it was in pictures on Instagram and Twitter, I knew I was going to get one. One of the things, my ARC is already delaminating. But it's so beautiful, and again, the author is so sweet and so great. One thing that I'll say about the book is that it does have some woman loves woman romance in it. It's an own voice lesbian romance thing, and we're seeing more of that, and this is doing really, like, this is getting so much traffic. I really want it to do well.
Same.
So, cool. We've talked for long enough, I think. Cass, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to talk about this. If any of you viewers are interested in following me on YouTube, I'm over at youtube.com/boterbug. I hope to see some of you there. Cass, thank you. For now, back to you, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about it with you sometime after release. Bye!
Thank you so much, Boter and Katelynne. That was an awesome discussion, and I am even more hyped to read Gideon the Ninth now. Gideon the Ninth comes out September 10th, so make sure you guys pick it up. I know I will be. Also, comment down below and let me know if you enjoyed this video. I would love to do more of these types of videos with my coworkers. As booksellers at this bookstore, we do get ARCs, and we read them, and we want to promote them, we want to talk about them, and it'd be really cool if I could have discussions with my fellow booksellers. I will leave a link to Boter's channel in the description box down below, as well as in my end card, and if I can find out if Katelynne has any social medias that she wants to promote, I will also link hers down below. So that's it for today's video. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun YouTube stuff, and I will see you all next time. Bye!
She's not gonna edit that out.